Hunt.
Aye.
Director Olson.
Aye.
Director Powell.
Aye.
Okay, next up we have communications. So we have our early childhood showcase first. Oh, need to turn your mic on, sorry.
Hold it down.
Till you see numbers.
There we go.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so this year has been an exciting time of growth and connection within our programs. We were excited to announce that we received a Buell Foundation grant last year that allowed us to open up a second toddler classroom, which increased our capacity from 20 students to 30, which was pretty exciting. With that, we celebrated a ribbon ceremony with the Chamber of Commerce early in August, just to excite the new reopening to a new classroom. Our faculty worked on team building as we built the team this year with our new enrollments, with monthly potlucks to strengthen their collaboration and support and build that team culture. Within the environment, we really wanted to make it a fun, collaborative, enjoying place to be for our early learners, and so within that, we implemented Teaching Strategies Gold this year at the Child Care Center because our preschoolers also use that as well as our kindergartners, and so it is a program that's infants through 3rd grade, and so we really thought it would set them up for success even in our infant classroom, and so those were the assessment tools we used this year and we will continue using. We hosted many family classroom celebrations in October, December, February that allowed our families to come in and see the rooms and see their kiddos within their team. And our children created cards for our veterans that we sent off in November with little handprints, right, within our age, right, of infant and toddlers, and so that was really neat to see them do that. In March, we featured a preschool registration night that we brought in, obviously, our toddlers that were transitioning to preschool and collaborated them to move over to the preschool to continue that enrollment. And this year we're going to have a toddler continuation, which is going to be really fun. I have sashes that we made that says Elizabeth School District Child Care that they're going to get as they transition to the preschool as well for continuation. And then even more exciting, this summer we're open at the Child Care Center, so we will be year-round, and that's really exciting for our community to be able to utilize that year-round. We're going to have some in-house special visitors. We're going to have a wheels day that the kiddos get to bring, you know, their little scooters and different things, and then just some water days with some splash things with some water. So very fun for them to have the summer with us, and we're excited to be open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. all summer long. So
7 to 5, you said?
Yes, yes. Yeah, we currently have 13 families that will utilize the program for the summer, which I was excited about. So those are just some highlights from our child care from this year. Some highlights from preschool. We focused on the collaboration, family engagement, and the meaningful learning experiences. So beginning in August, we had a meet and greet with our families that we aligned with our special services team to have those pre-screeners early on to build those relationships with our special services team. Our ongoing staff collaboration is also faculty potlucks. But across the board, our 2 preschools, we met together once a month and did a professional development day at the collaborative preschool between Running Creek and Singing Hills. It was really neat to see them come together and communicate and work well and you know, work through our different curriculums and give each other ideas. And each time, usually somebody. We had last year a teacher who brought pins that we all made pins or mugs together. So something that brought us together, which was really neat as well. And then our family events. So both Running Creek and Singing Hills came together for field trips on a Friday because we don't have our students. We had in October over 170 attendees at the pumpkin patch between both schools, families, teachers, and the kiddos. And then in February, we went to the aquarium, and we had over 100 as well at the aquarium. Our transportation helped with busing, which was huge help to get families there, and I think that really helped allow more families to be able to attend. They also created cards for our veterans and our senior center that we brought to a senior center for them. Coming up, we do have muffins with moms and donuts with dads that we're pretty excited about. Singing Hills has already done their donuts with dads, but they're getting ready to do the muffins with moms. So, and Running Creek as well. And then our big event at the end of the year is our pre-K graduation. They rent out the gym and have a large graduation with presentations and diplomas. So we're excited to present those pre-Kers that are moving to kindergarten with a graduation as well. We're looking forward to celebrating our teachers, and we have our families who we're partnering with that are providing breakfast for a day, sweet treats for a day, and flowers for the teachers. So we're really excited to be able to partner with our families and share that appreciation to our teachers. Looking forward to 26-27, we just a couple days ago received another grant from the Buell Foundation that we're extremely excited about. What we're doing with this is I partnered with our security team. We're getting some more security cameras down at the Child Care Center. So $5,000 of that will go to the security cameras to allow us to have a little bit better visibility. And then $15,000 of it is going to a new playground structure. Within this playground structure, what it's going to allow me to do is open up our license. Instead of ending it at 2.5, we can now go through 5 years old, which will allow those 3-year-olds who turn 3 mid-year to have their continuity of care through the remainder of the year instead of having to find care elsewhere. And then goal is they'll transition to the preschool. So excited to be able to have that. It'll also open up opportunities for summer care for families that may need it a little outside of that 3 to 5 because it's really hard to find care in that age. So we're hopeful that that will also open up. So I will be working on the construction this summer for the new playground. So pretty excited about that. A new thing that I'll be implementing next year is a program called Bright Wheel. We were currently using 3 different programs within billing, communication. There has never been an online tool for online registration for preschool, and obviously no child care. And so this is kind of going to be our one-stop shop, and this will allow families to enroll online, which I think will also increase our enrollment, a little bit easier for families to get on and be able to fill that out over the summer. It will also allow for us to have daily communication with our families, newsletters. Our infants do have to track a lot more for our families, and so this will allow for connection with our families to give them those updates on their infants and toddlers as well. It will also give us a secure check-in and check-out system, and there's a QR code that they will have to scan to check in and out, so I've worked with our security team to ensure we have that in place as well for families for that convenience and safety. And then really exciting, Running Creek gets to open up an additional classroom due to their expansion of their enrollment for next year. I'm very excited. So they'll go from 3 classrooms to 4 next year due to their increasing of their enrollment. So we're very excited to accommodate that. And we're proud to share that all early childhood faculty plan to return, which is huge. Yay! We've had challenges over the last few years, but I'm very excited that all staff is returning next year, which is incredible across our schools. It does show a wonderful example of spirit to show our collaboration. We even had a Singing Hills preschool teacher and her daughter go to our child care center and paint a mural for them.
Wow.
Yes, it was wonderful. We, due to licensing, can't have a lot on the walls, and so they came and painted a mural together. So that was really neat to see. And overall, this year has been wonderful. We are grateful for our staff, families, and community partners, and we look forward to educating and supporting our youngest learners. That's all I have.
Would you like to introduce your team
Oh,
members?
yes. We have Tina Farr, our preschool director at Singing Hills, and her daughter Gracie, who attends our house school also. Preschool. Yeah. Nice to support.
Well, I haven't met the Running Creek team, but I've met the Singing Hills team, and
Yeah.
you guys are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just brag a little on Karina. We really appreciate her leadership and the Buell Foundation grants and seeking outside funding. And, you know, our dream for infant toddler was it would not only be a service to our staff, but also to first responders and town employees. And because we weren't open during the summer, we really weren't attracting them, because obviously they need care year round. They
Right.
don't get the summers off, and so this expansion, I think, we may start with 13, but I think if we get
Yeah.
the word out, it will grow, so
Yes,
we're
we have
excited at that.
numerous county workers that utilize the child care, so that's really
That's
great, and
good.
they get a discount as well.
All right. Well, that's
Spread the
great.
word.
Yes,
Wonderful.
yes, spread the word. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Karina.
Thank you.
And thank you, Tina.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have our Elizabeth High School showcase. Principal McClendon is here to share what's going on.
And there's a lot going on.
Yes, well, good evening. We'll just kind of highlight some of the successes that we've had, some of the ongoing projects that are underway, and really highlight what our kids and staff have done this year. So I want to start with concurrent enrollment. So just the number of students that are taking classes primarily through Arapahoe Community College. We had 222 students, which is over a third of the kids in the building that took at least one concurrent enrollment class, with 2,178 credits earned by those students. And for the first time in the history of Elizabeth High School, we are going to have 2 students graduate on May 23rd with a high school diploma and an associate's degree.
Oh, wow.
That is awesome.
That's
So
exciting.
this is it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
The growth that we've been able to see there has been phenomenal. We have 20 students this year who are also receiving the state seal of biliteracy, and that means that they can read, write, and speak fluently in 2 languages. Some of those kids actually helped do some translation for some of our students, primarily at Running Creek. Came down and assisted those kids who could not speak any English, and were able to help them. So that's new for us this year. We haven't had that, which is pretty amazing. I do want to shout out one of our teachers, because this does not happen very often, but we had a teacher who was named Teacher of the Year in her subject area. That was Jennifer Barclay in drama. Was named the State Teacher of the Year for the drama programs across the state. So we're pretty excited about that. We had 2 very large community events. One just last week with the Big Help Day, where kids went out throughout the community, volunteered, did a lot of great service. And then don't forget our Thanksgiving, the community Thanksgiving that was put on back in November. Over 500 people attended. One of the biggest that we have had. Certainly the biggest that we've had since it was moved to the high school. Pretty amazing, and we want to thank all the volunteers that helped cook, the kids who helped serve people. That was put on by primarily our alternative program, and something that we look to want to continue year in and year out. It's a really fun evening. I want to transition now into some of our group successes, the organizations, clubs, teams, things of that nature. Both our band and our orchestra received superior ratings at state competitions this year. Marching band qualified for state again after winning regionals for the 5th time in a row. So that obviously is a program that has really grown under Ms. Powell. Very, very happy for that. Our robotics, FBLA, FCCLA clubs, which we have to have as associated with our career and tech ed programs, all competed at state, with FBLA and FCCLA having students that qualified for the national competitions coming up this summer. Again, shows the outstanding work that our sponsors are doing with our kids, and that our kids are doing, putting in the time and the effort to be able to qualify for those. On the sports side of things, softball, wrestling, boys basketball, and gymnastics all competed at state, as did football. Football made it to the championship game this year. Unfortunately, came up a little bit short. It was a very cold night. But yeah, a lot of success for those kids that are out there in athletics. We have kids that have qualified for track, already qualified for the state meet in track and field, and baseball is most likely going to be hosting a regional. Hopefully they too will be able to qualify for state competition. Our esports, which is fairly new, we've had it now, I believe this is our third year. They were third in state in e-chess, which was something I had not heard about until just recently. But you know, congratulations to those young people. And we started boys volleyball this spring. So for the first time, we've added a new program, and they're actually competing this evening. So not at home, but that's a new one for us. And finally, in that realm of activities and things, I want to shout out our entire performing arts department for the Anything Goes musical, nominated in several areas for the Bobby G Awards. And if you think about this in context, over 10% of the student body was involved in some way, shape, or form in that show. They were either in the pit, they were on the stage acting, or they were behind the scenes doing the technical piece. 70 kids involved in that. Which is, again, over 10% of our student body. That's one of the biggest areas we have of anything bigger than football, as far as that goes, and that's our biggest sport for participation. Before I kind of wind things down with our season of awards, I do want to mention that there will be a change at the high school next year as it relates to our schedule. We are going to a 7-period schedule. 3 days a week will be the 7 periods, 2 days a week will be in block form. This is something that really is going to be good for our kids. We're going to see our kids 4 days a week instead of 3 that we have now. We're actually going to get more time with students and teachers in the classroom than our current schedule. And we have academic time built into the schedule, so students will be able to go and get assistance once a week whenever they need help, retake tests, things like that, and it's built into the day. With so many kids that ride the bus, it makes it very difficult for students to come in early, because I stand down there where when those buses come in, and sometimes kids don't get in until 7:42, 7:43, and class starts at 7:50. They don't have time to go and get a lot of assistance. And then the same thing after school. You know, they got to get on the bus and go, or if they're involved in an activity, they just don't have that opportunity. But with the schedule that we're putting together right now, I think we're really going to have an opportunity to see kids have better academic success, get more assistance, have more opportunity to meet with staff, and give our staff an opportunity to use the plan time they have, because students won't be coming in on study halls or Cardinal Ground School or anything like that during a teacher's plan or lunch. And so I think it just will be, once we get it going, it will just be a more calming effect, I think, on everybody's opportunity to go about the academic day. Finally, 'tis the season for awards. Last week we had the District Art Show. Right before that, obviously, many of you know, we had the Stars Banquet celebrating our students and the great things that they're doing. Our awards night is next Tuesday, so 1 week from tonight at 6 p.m. For any of you who would be interested in coming and watching our students who received awards and scholarships throughout the course of the year. And finally, this is your formal invitation to May 23rd, 10 a.m. in the stadium, our graduation. Hope you can all make it. Just remember sunscreen, sunglasses. We will have water, but hopefully we'll have another beautiful ceremony outside. So that's where we're at.
Very
Any
good.
questions for Brett?
How many kids did you say?
Tuesday is.
Yeah, Tuesday's also the auto show.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
yes. The
auto shop
auto
and
at
then
5.
awards.
Yeah, so
Okay.
just come right on over. You can
Spend the
we
evening.
can dedicate the auto building at 5, and awards night starts at 6.
There we go.
Just, you're right there. Come on in.
And
We'll have
everybody be
seats.
ready to cheer, because I'm telling you.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And our grand opening is really invitation to our donors. So it's not a public event. It's not something that's come one, come all. It's really designed, each of our donors are receiving a personal invitation to that. So just to be clear, I know there's been some publishing that on social media. This is not a grand opening for the public. This is really to celebrate our donors who have helped raise the money necessary to get that building open. So
Very
there'll
thankful for
be
that.
a public opportunity, but not yet.
Right.
How many kids did you say did that state seal of biliteracy? How many kids?
20,
20, wow.
yes.
I knew there was a 2 in there, but I wasn't
Yeah,
2, or
yeah.
how many?
Yeah.
That's a
Yes, ma'am.
lot. That's amazing.
And they've been extremely helpful with
Yeah.
some of our elementary children who speak no English
Yeah.
as they arrive, just to be able to, I mean, immersion is our focus. We immerse students in English,
Mhm.
but as they first arrive, just to get them
Yeah.
acclimated, it's
Yeah.
been amazing. So
Yeah, yeah, I
we
remember we talked
appreciate
about
that
that. There
work.
was a couple of students that we were really concerned about, but it sounds like your
Yeah.
high school students really did a good job in helping them be able to move forward and.
They did, and, you know, a big thanks to Mr. Bedoin, working with him
Mhm.
through internships and getting them over there so that it could be consistent.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
great opportunity for our kids and a way to give back.
That's great. And I saw the kids out there for Big Help Day, and they were working hard.
Yeah.
I saw
I saw the
couple
pictures.
They do.
They're all
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
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 Well, great. Well,
Awesome.
thank you, Brett.
Thank
Thank you.
for your
Y'all have a
leadership.
nice
Appreciate
evening.
All right,
it.
you
Yep.
do too. Okay, next up we have the board member reports. Mary, you want to talk about STARS? We were there, it was awesome.
Well, STARS, our event was another great one, and we were very excited to do that, and the Elizabeth Education Foundation puts that on. And it came together really well, and this was Jace Glick's 20th year of emceeing that event. He was actually one of the founding members of EEF to begin with, and I was a little confused because there was a gap in there, so that was
Yeah.
why it was 20 years doing this rather than 28, which I
Mhm.
wasn't quite understanding the gap, but whatever. But he is amazing, and we just appreciate him so much, and so he was instrumental in that and has been every year, and he's just a lot of fun to be up there. He's just, you never get bored when you're in the room with Jace.
You don't.
And so, but it was great, and it was great to see the students, and lots of great nomination stories from the teachers, so it's always a fun event, and I think it went actually a little smoother this year. I think this was probably the smoothest logistics year that we've had, so I was grateful for that personally.
I had the opportunity to tour ICA's renovations this past week at Frontier, and I was just really excited to see how far they've come, what they're doing. They have real vision, and I was excited to hear that, you know, enrollment's ongoing. I think I see a lot of their advertisements around town in buildings, online. So anyway, I'm excited about this other option that we're providing to students in our community and students outside of our community who are willing to come here for classical education. So it was a good visit.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
work
I-
they've done is incredible.
Yeah, I did that on Saturday with Ken and folks, and I was impressed at what they've gotten done. They've got a lot of logistics, but they're getting students signing up every week. They're getting more students. I think parents that aren't used to, like, I know a lot of parents that are sending their kids to private school, like, they're used to, okay, today's the first day of school, all right, I gotta sign up for the next year, you know, but so maybe it just took a little while for it to catch on, but it is catching on, so I'm grateful they really, I think, they're still not sure, like, how many, like, they have, you know, their teachers for everything, but they're like, we may need to hire more teachers.
Right.
they're not sure yet. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I spent a lot of time just talking to them about the classical education and just how it's gonna be structured, and you know, I think they're working through some challenges, but I think they're on target, on track. So.
You know, if you've been in the Frontier building before, which I
I
don't
had
think
never
you
been.
had, wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
You know, I'm excited to see an old building brought back to life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was walking in, it's got that big plaque that says.
The cornerstone
Yeah,
there.
it's like
1971.
It was 1921.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
like-
oh, I'm thinking the one inside.
Yeah,
The
it's
one
like,
inside.
I'm like, wow, like,
Yeah.
no wonder there have been some issues with the roof or whatever, because, I mean, this is a really old building. And it feels
It's
like it too,
historical.
when you're in there, like,
Mhm.
these rooms with no windows and just cinder block walls.
Yeah,
and
it
it's-
sounds like my elementary school.
One thing that Jessica, the headmaster, said while we were there was that they have a lot of families whose parents went there as their high school. So they've got quite a number of, it's like coming home again.
Yeah,
for
and
those
the parents
families.
were
It's
like,
fun.
wow, this place looks a lot better than
Yeah.
it did when I went to school here.
So yeah, so it's
But
exciting.
yeah, full circle for a lot of these families.
Yeah.
And I think they're working out some of the logistics with Legacy and how they're gonna, work around each other. I don't know, I really feel good about, and there's plenty of space for them to, if they do grow, if they do need more classrooms, there's plenty of classroom space there, so. I don't know, I mean, I think they're gonna do well. I really feel positive about the whole thing.
Other than stars, I don't have a whole
I don't
lot.
have anything.
Okay.
It's just, we're looking forward to the awards banquet and
Yeah.
graduation and launching
coming
another
up.
set of kits out in the world.
Do we, speaking of something that's coming up, do we know when the math,
Curriculum review.
the
Assessment thing.
assessment,
Yeah.
the math,
Oh.
the district-wide math assessment is going out?
Elementary and middle school happens, I believe, 2 to 3 weeks before the end of the school year. And so we should have those results, I would hope, before maybe our second meeting in May.
Okay.
And has the high school one been done already? Or,
We did mid-year. I think our question is it valuable to do again?
well, I guess we're talking about I don't know if assessment is the right word, but the ones that, determine what class are they gonna go into next.
Do they need to
Oh,
repeat?
the placement tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Placement.
don't believe those have been done yet.
Okay.
I don't have the date.
Okay.
Ted's not here tonight, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll ask him to
Yeah.
update you.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do them pretty soon because
Yeah,
he wants
they'll be
to
done so we can schedule.
figure out how many.
Yeah.
But I think he's
working
also
on
supposed to be
scheduling.
scheduling a time for us and the community to go in and look at
And
some
look at the
different
math
math
options.
curriculum
Yeah.
options
Yeah.
That's true.
at the high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't have those dates, but
No.
I'll make sure he emails you, so. Yeah.
Cool.
Just for people online or whoever's gonna watch this, they're gonna be doing a placement test for district-wide for everybody, just to see where everybody is for math, so that next year, your student, your child will be put in where they place on the test, vice just throwing them in the deep end where they don't belong or that they could fail or, so, yeah, that's coming up, that there's a lot of planning that's going into that.
And it will not be an online test. It will be a paper test. Obviously, with math, students can make a minor mistake and get the wrong answer, but have a clear understanding of how to do the
That's right.
problem. So I think doing by paper, we're gonna be able to have a little better job in accurately placing and not have the computer and the distractions be a factor. So, so all students will take a
Yeah,
placement
partial
test in
credit
middle and high
counts,
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this will be really good to basically set the students up for success instead of just dumping them in
Yeah.
the next regular class. It'll be,
Mhm.
where they're at and get them back
Well,
on track for,
It allows us to
really
accelerate
mastering the skills.
students as well, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
there are students who really don't need
Yeah.
to be in
Yeah.
algebra next year, they need to be in geometry, and it'll give
Right.
us that ability.
Yeah, so it's exciting. I think it's great.
I'm pumped, I'm pumped.
This kind of ties into some of the topics you're
Yep.
gonna talk about.
Yeah, so, my report, you have a class size report in your packet. That class size report by your policy, IIB R1, requires that we report to you, both October count and in the second semester, class sizes at our schools. It outlines what our targets are and then provides you the actual data of class sizes. You'll see that we really have had some very small class sizes this year at both elementary schools. We have a couple of classes that have been large, and we're working to lower those next year. But we are, when you look at the middle school and looking at some of the class sizes, some are large and some are not, and that's really the function of secondary scheduling. At the high school, you'll see some very tiny classes, and what will happen next year is some of those classes, we will look at other options. We won't be able to offer a class for a group of students of 3.
Yeah.
And so that will be a change. When you look at our class size report, you'll see some that are extremely tiny. And some of those are online programs, some of those are concurrent enrollment classes where students go to. But just important that you note that because you will see some of those that won't continue next year.
Do we have totals for the middle school and high school?
As far as
Total student count?
total student count,
I
we
didn't
do.
see
I
it in-
thought it was here.
Singing Hills, 396.
Yeah, the elementaries are there. I see what Mike's saying is, I don't, for some reason it's not there. I know the high school is about 640 right now. That's the last number I have, but let me get you accurate current numbers. I can do that tomorrow. Okay, okay. Okay, on the things that you asked, Ted's obviously watching. Next
can.
Monday is a textbook option meeting, so an email will go out tomorrow. So next Monday, I think that's when the textbooks will be displayed, so we can get community feedback on the, I believe we have 3 programs that are displayed that we're considering, so.
So that's this
certainly
coming Monday that will start.
Next Monday, yep.
Cool.
Okay. The tests will be completed in the next week, okay.
Can
Yeah.
you explain more about the display?
The 3 different math programs that we're considering
Oh,
will be
okay.
displayed so that people can come in, look at them, and give feedback.
Okay.
So it's feedback, it's feedback for the process of actually making the final selection.
Okay.
So that'll be done Monday, and then hopefully we'll be able to make a selection and then begin ordering and getting training lined up for those programs.
So when we were at our CRC meeting, we saw 2 of them, but then he was gonna try to get that 3rd option.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we won't have seen that one, so we'll be able to come in and see it with the public display,
Okay.
so.
Okay. All right, so class size report, again, that's required that we present that to you. I'm really proud of this. I'm going to display it on the screen for you. You have a copy at your seat, so you can look at that one. But we are really excited about what we've been able to do with employee benefits, and I know some of you have been at our TAC and CAC to hear the presentation. This is a really unique option, and several districts in the state are moving in this direction. It really is trying to compete with or combat the continued growth of premiums in public health care. Most of the premium increases are not going to better health care. They're going to the profits of the middleman. And so our program next year through 550 Advisory is really a program that allows people to continue to use doctors in their networks. There are co-pays depending on the cost of those networks. And there is a free option. So we will actually have a clinic that we're negotiating space across the parking lot here that will be open to our employees who need health care, can during the day come and see a doctor who will be on site and be able to get their care, be seen immediately, not have to wait 6 weeks like some of us have to with our doctors to get in. And actually be given their prescription that they need versus having to go and hunt down a pharmacy that's open. So we're excited about that. Should they choose a free option, that will also offer free options for specialists. So if I need a cardiologist, working through this group, they can align you with one of the doctors who can take care of those specialty needs as well. As you can see on the chart, Some districts are charging an awful lot to employees. One of our, got our two neighboring districts, Cherry Creek and Douglas County. This is kind of sobering to our employees last Friday when they received the insurance presentation. If you're an employee covering your entire family, spouse and children, your first $30,000 of salary goes to health insurance. Not dental and vision, just health insurance. Dental and vision is additional. If you're trying to cover your spouse, you're paying $1,613 a month just for your spouse to be covered on the insurance plan.
This is in
in
the
Cherry
Cherry Creek
Creek.
schools, yeah.
Douglas County is not raising their rates as of right now. These are the rates that are currently in their benefits handbook. They're a little more comparable to us, but we're still less expensive than Douglas County. We are actually cutting our employee and spouse coverage by $264. We're cutting our employee and children coverage by $229 a month, and we're cutting our employee and family coverage by $219 a month. So our employees, in addition to the raise we're discussing tonight, are also getting a raise by saving some premiums. So we're really proud of that. It doesn't mean less care. It means cutting out the middleman, getting direct care, not only from doctors in the Adventist network, the Common Spirit network, the UC Health network, but also having some free options that if they choose to take advantage of those, literally can get no-cost health care all the way up to and including surgeries. So it's pretty exciting. It is something that our TAC and our CAC have embraced. It is a change. All of the districts who have done this have seen continued drop in premiums over the years. So instead of the opposite of 17%, 10%, 11% increases, the districts who are using 550 advisory have consistently saw a cut in premiums because of the education that goes along with employees understanding that insurance isn't a credit card. That insurance, if I'm smart in how I seek out medical care, I can actually save a boatload of money in my pocket as well as the district's pocket. So we are excited about it. I think this was an eye-opener to our employees who often think, oh, I can go next door and make more money, but some of that money is going to be going towards health benefits that's not going to here. So we're proud of that. As I mentioned earlier, our auto celebration next Tuesday is really targeted to our donors. So our donors are getting personal invitations. We are providing pizza through Fox's Pizza. It'll be more of a stand-up event. Obviously, the key is opening up the auto shop so they can see it, see the work that's been done. Their plaques are already on the wall recognizing the donors who have given to this effort. So next Tuesday is that event, and again, those folks are getting personal invitation. We will have a public grand opening probably before the start of the school year, where folks who want to come in and walk through and see it. Right now, we really are trying to thank our donors who helped us raise over $300,000 to get this building finally done. So important to note that. Have a lot of end-of-the-year activities. You've already heard some of those. May 5th is awards night, 6 o'clock at the high school. Always a great chance to see the amazing work that our kids are doing. And then May 23rd is graduation. I do want to address the consent agenda before you get to that. So you are not only approving raises for licensed and classified staff, those raises, and we'll talk about that in the budget, which comes after that, but those raises are to the tune of about $300,000 of additional committed funds in our budget. And you'll see tonight where that money is actually available within our budget. You're approving the rehiring of licensed and classified staff. No administrators tonight, they'll come at the next meeting. But licensed staff for teachers, special education teachers, social workers, psychologists, that type of staff. And then classified are our bus drivers, our custodians, our food and service staff, our paraprofessionals. And so that's what you're authorizing is a reappointment of those individuals. The salaries that are listed are estimated salaries. Some people, as you know, in our point system, they have up until June to actually earn the points necessary to move. So I want to really point out that you're approving the individuals being rehired at the appropriate salary that they earn based upon where they would be on our salary scale. So some of those salaries, just as we're looking through, we're realizing some people may not move because they don't have the points we tried for budget's sake, anyone who was within striking distance, we budgeted the higher salary because we'd rather come in low than high. And so as we printed that list, that hit me over the weekend that you're really not approving that salary because they may not get that salary if they don't have the points expected to move. So, so salaries are not what you're approving. You're approving the district rehiring those individuals and issuing contracts. If we don't do that tonight, our staff will not get contracts before they leave for the year. And we really would like to get them contracts starting next week. And so by your authorizing that, we can begin pushing contracts for those employees. Administrators will come to you at the next meeting. We'll get you that list in advance. If you have any questions, certainly reach out. And then those individuals will be ready to push contracts. They're a smaller group, so we can push contracts and still get those closer to the end of the school year. Okay. I think that's all I have.
Okay. All right, so it doesn't look like we have any public comment tonight, so we will move on to the consent agenda. I move that the board approve consent items 8.1 through 8.11 as presented, making note of Dan's comments.
Second?
Can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Hunt?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, so next up, more discussion. Dan, you're gonna talk
Yep.
about Running Creek?
Yeah, so Running Creek, as we've talked about, Running Creek is a building that really has the opportunity for us to do some redesign of the learning model. We will be announcing a parent meeting next Wednesday night for parents of Running Creek students to come and actually ask questions and get answers to what this model will look like. This is not a Dan created or a Ted created model. This is actually a model that's being used across the country in schools like Running Creek as they really don't have the number of students to have pure, kindergarten class, first grade classes, but you also don't want to do combined classes. I'm not a fan of a K-1 class because are your kindergartners getting what they need and our first graders getting what they need. So this is actually a model, and I wanted to explain it a little to the board. And again, parents of Running Creek students will have that opportunity next Wednesday to ask questions and certainly to push our thinking. There may be things that they want us to think about, and certainly we're open to doing that. The current state is that there are 2 teachers per grade level, and you'll see that some of those grade levels are very small at Running Creek. And students are taught based on their chronological age. So whether they're ready for 3rd grade or not, they're being taught 3rd grade material. They do get some intervention through the reading interventionist and take flight therapists. They typically receive grade level instruction, ready or not. At that grade level, there is, if they're in reading intervention, that's going to be targeted at the reading level. If they're in take flight, that's targeted at their phonemic awareness and phonics development, which is sometimes stunted by dyslexia. They do get some small group intervention time. They call it WIN time, what I need time. So students are grouped for a short period of time during the day where they can get re-instruction and skills that they've missed. The challenge is that for students who may have fallen behind, it's a perpetuation of falling behind because there's really not the ability of grouping them to the degree that sometimes students need. And I think in public education, we've seen this social promotion that's continued to occur, and we've talked about that repeatedly as a board, that we can't continue to do that because we move kids like Swiss cheese, and then we have kids with massive holes in their skills, and they encounter challenges as they move into more challenging material. The model we want to use is called team-based staffing, and you can Google this. This is, like I said, a national phenomenon. In fact, what you see on the screen is what Google told me team-based staffing is. It's team-based staffing in education replaces the traditional one teacher, one classroom model. There will be a team of teachers, so next year kindergarten and first graders will be assigned a team of teachers. They probably will still have a homeroom. They probably will still have that close-knit feeling. But when they're getting instruction, it's going to continually be focused on what they need. So they'll be continually assessing and reassessing of students, grouping them during key instructional times, language arts and math, when students can really be taught at the level they need. Now there may be a kindergartner who's advanced in reading and a first grader who's at the same level that are going to be taught together for a period of time on a specific skill. The intent is to teach them to mastery and then to move them on. And so it's really a matter of filling in those gaps, having the structure to do so. During math and reading time, they'll be flooded with additional staff. So in addition to the teachers assigned to that team, the reading interventionist will be there. The special education teacher will be there. During math, the math interventionist teacher will be there. There'll be an opportunity for some specials teachers at times to come in and support maybe some enrichment for high-performing students so that we can stretch them. So during that time, it's flooded. So instead of just being 2 teachers or 3 teachers or 4 teachers, it could be 7 teachers, really grouping students based upon their need. And the intent is to take students as far as they can go. One of the things we've heard a lot of criticism on is my gifted child's not being challenged. We can't just fill in the gaps for students who are low performing. We have to be able to advance students who are ready for greater challenges. So that will be taken account into this model. So what it will look like next year is we will have a K1 team, a 2-3 team, and a 4-5 team, where there will be teachers who kids will get to know all of those teachers. Like I said, they probably will still have some sort of a homeroom, so they'll have a home base and a teacher they can feel like they're connected to most of the day, but they will be grouped according to who's the best suited teacher to teach that need. If they're getting dyslexia therapy during reading, they may get that dyslexia therapy instead of missing out on other instruction. And so it will be, again, an opportunity during those key core instruction times where flooding can occur into that classroom. Special education teacher can serve special education students during that time versus those students constantly. We take students who are struggling the most and we take them out of class and then they come back and they're lost because they missed key things. This really allows a continuity of service throughout the day for students based upon what they need. They will engage in all 4 core academic subjects. They'll have science, they'll have social studies. There'll be teachers who are better suited to teach those instead of everyone has to teach science. If your gig's not science, there may be a teacher who teaches science to students versus everyone having to teach science. What the research shows is it actually creates a more reasonable plate for a teacher. It allows them to, it solves some of the burnout issues because I'm not trying to teach for 20 different levels of kids and 4 different subject areas throughout the day. I'm really able to focus on a key group of students that need what I have to offer for a short period of time, get them there, and then reassess and regroup students to make sure that we're building upon their knowledge and information. So again, ongoing skill assessment, we're not talking about online assessment next year. We don't intend to use iReady next year. We will be assessing students so that we can truly see their thought process and engaging in the work. We'll know if it's just a matter of a simple mistake or if they truly are lost on the skill, and then we'll be able to group them accordingly. So our teachers through the collaborative or the DLT process that Ted explained last meeting will continue to actually be supported and trained so that they can truly do those probes, know where students are, and be able to plan for that instruction. So again, students who are ready to advance can advance. Students who are ready, who need remediation, can get that remediation with the focus always towards mastery. Not, I taught it, I hope you learned it, but I taught it so you learned it so that we can move you on and progress you forward. And again, in grouping and regrouping, so I may be in this reading group for 2 weeks because I'm focused on this key reading skill. Once I master it, I may move on. There may be students who need 2 more weeks of that, but I don't, so I don't need to sit there and wait. I can move on to a new group. So it is a model that's proven. The schools who utilize this approach actually are high-performing schools. Students make great growth because, again, they're getting what they need versus I'm a 3rd grader, so I get 3rd grade whether I'm ready for that or not. So again, parent information meeting next Wednesday, 6 to 7 o'clock at Running Creek. And not only will we share more details on the model, far more than what I've shared tonight, but then also open it up for questions so that we can hear from parents.
So I do have a question. You said, so we're only talking Running Creek at this
Running
point.
Creek, this is a model we'll implement at Running Creek.
Okay. And then you said we will not be using iReady next year at all?
Not at the elementary school. We're
Okay.
going to move
At either one of them or just RCE again?
We're going to move away from both. And we're going to move for both elementary schools. We are not sure that iReady is necessarily giving us the data we need. We believe we can get that data through more individualized and focused assessment with students. And so at this point in time, we do not plan to use an online assessment. We intend to utilize other. Dibbles is an assessment we've used to use. Acadian's Math has some math probes that allows us to really assess does the student have their math skill or not, and then we can group accordingly. So we do intend, and I think the public will appreciate this, we do intend to lessen the amount of time that children in the elementary school are using technology, and increase the direct instruction based upon what that student needs, so that when they do arrive at middle school, they have attained mastery, they're ready, and then the technology truly can be a tool instead of just something that takes up time. Yeah.
So my understanding of iReady is that there are 3 pieces to it. So this is the assessment part you're talking about.
The assessment part.
There is the curriculum that we have been using, right?
Mhm.
And so will that curriculum still be used?
That curriculum will
now?
continue
Okay.
at the elementary math level. iReady Math will continue to be our curriculum. It's iReady Classroom Math.
Okay.
The 15 minutes a day
Yeah.
is something I believe we also will eliminate.
Good.
We're just
Okay.
not seeing the growth
Yeah.
Within our
Yeah.
students.
I heard some
that we were
concerns
hoping.
about that, which I was a little surprised to hear, but, so that's good. So we'll only really end up, in both of the elementaries, we'll only end up using the
The
curriculum
iReady
piece of
curriculum,
iReady.
correct. And we
Which
will
should
be
get us
assessing.
past that concern that
Running
people are
Creek
having now about
students will be
iReady.
assessed using the same instruments as Singing Hills. We'll still have apples to apples data.
Mhm.
What won't happen at Singing Hills, because we do have a large school and we do have very healthy grade levels, and certainly they do a lot of grouping at Singing Hills of students based upon needs. So it's already happening at Singing Hills naturally in the team structure that exists there. It's not been happening at Running Creek. So this structure, as Running Creek grows and maybe doesn't need to necessarily have the teaming structure, I think the residual effect will be teachers who are very used to grouping students based upon need and sharing students, which is really critical today. You can't, I mean, when I taught, I had kids who are on the spectrum. Today it's
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
for a teacher literally to create 24 lesson plans for 24 students who are functioning across that spectrum,
Yeah.
it really is becoming challenging, and
It
why
does
we have
sound
so
like
many people leaving the
Much better
profession.
for the teachers. So it sounds like, so what I'm understanding you're saying, for Singing Hills, they've kind of done this, maybe not the full scope of it, but they've done a lot of it sort of organically already over time, and then.
They do a lot of grouping, not as much as this
As
model
this,
will
but,
bring,
yeah.
but certainly they've naturally grouped, which is why
Yeah.
we've seen performance a little different
Yeah.
in Singing Hills,
Good, well, that's exciting,
so,
cool. I like it.
okay. All right, next item, go ahead.
Next item is the budget discussion.
All
for the
right.
Future.
So you have in front of you a copy of this. I'm going to display just so you can see it, but really the copy in front of you is probably the best thing for you to look at. So we have been busy in our budget process, working not only with CDE to look at our procedures and our processes, but also waiting for the state legislature to finally decide how much are we being funded. The School Finance Act has not been introduced yet. I was told today it might hit the Senate Education Committee next week, and that will move rapidly because we only have one more
There's
week
only, yeah, they
for
better
a
hurry.
session. There's been some conversation that they may not get it done, and they may need to call a special session. So budgeting's hard when you're trying to guess. We've been very conservative in this, and while the state right now, their projection says that we would earn $12,414, we're not projecting that right now. We're projecting less because we don't want to build a budget and then find that, okay, we're funded less per student. And so at this point in time, we are being conservative in our approach. We have looked at our property tax, our state equalization, our specific ownership tax, and all of our current revenues. You'll see in the revenue section that we have made some corrections to how it's been tracked this year. Infant toddler seemed to get a lot of money that was preschool related. Infant toddler and preschool are separate. Preschool is funded through Universal Pre-Kindergarten in Colorado, infant toddler is fee-based unless a parent qualifies for CCAP, Colorado Child Care Assistance Program. So we have for next year aligned UPK dollars and a UPK line and infant toddler in a separate line. And so that's why you see some numbers shifting up there. We are, with some of the homeschool enrichment programs that we are considering moving forward with, we obviously will see some increased revenue coming from these programs. And then obviously you'll see on the line the amount of money that goes out for those programs that are occurring within the district. The first expense portion is salary and benefits, and just if I can direct your attention to the screen, you'll see a big spreadsheet with all of our current employees where we have vacancies, salaries, and that's how we're budgeting. So we're budgeting to the person. We're not guessing. We're not saying, well, the average teacher makes. We're actually budgeting. And where we have an open position, we actually are budgeting the average teacher salary, not the beginning teacher salary, but the average teacher salary. We know that we might hire a beginning teacher who may cost less, but we may also hire an experienced teacher, and we don't want to tie ourselves in. So for this budget, and all of you certainly have the ability of letting me know you want to see it, and we can go page by page and look at the supporting document that gets to the numbers. You'll see where staff is increasing, where staff is decreasing based upon growth or shrinkage. The middle school is going to be a little smaller next year because we have a very small 5th grade class and a very large 8th grade class leaving. So there's always going to be that fluctuation. So therefore, we don't need as many staff if we're decreasing in size. The high school is shrinking some as well, and so you see some reduction in staffing at the high school. RCE is shrinking, so you see some reduction in staffing there as well. Singing Hills is growing. Singing Hills continues to grow. We're continuing to run the risk of trying to find additional classroom space. So I think we're fine next year, but certainly as we expected in that segment of our community, growth is occurring, and they are seeing the growth occur. They will actually have 4 classes in kindergarten 1st and 2nd next year, and 3 classes in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And so as that grows, we have to get another classroom for 3rd grade, another classroom for 4th grade, and another classroom for 5th grade. So just in the next 3 years alone, if nothing changes but that group matriculates through, we're going to see 3 additional classroom spaces needed at Singing Hills because of the growth that's occurring on that side of the district. And so so you'll see that their salaries are increasing. We also had some long-term subs that we had people who left mid-year. We hired a long-term sub who met the qualifications. Their pay actually came out of the sub line, so the budget was adjusted mid-year knowing we had some subs. So not all of that is growth in staff. Some of that is just teachers being hired now in those positions that were opened during the year.
You didn't tell me that my salary was getting cut $120,000.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to tell. I was getting to that news. Sorry. This does incorporate the raises that you've approved so far for licensed and support staff. The raises are adding $1,000 to the teacher base, moving our starting salary from $43,000 to $44,000. It also adds a 2% increase for support staff. So both of those equal 3% for those employee groups. Administrators will come to you next meeting with a proposed salary increase. Again, that's separate from what you've done tonight. So right now, this budget does take into account all of those raises. Obviously, if you choose not to approve all of them, that would change the bottom line. A couple of things happening I want to point out. In special services, you'll notice a pretty drastic increase in budget for staffing. We have had to hire a lot of contractors, meaning we have to go to a company and pay someone to bring in a psychologist, a social worker, an audiologist. Those are very expensive. You're paying not only the salary of the person, but you're paying the fee to the contractor. Lene Pearson, who has been an amazing addition to our staff, has worked really hard to recruit our own employees in those roles. So you'll see a shift from cost in the expense side, which is the next segment that we'll look at, to cost and salaries, because it costs us less to hire our own social worker into contract for a social worker. So, so we're pleased with that shift. Yes, it's an increase in salary, but you'll see a decrease in expenses. I will also say that before the end of the year, you'll do a revised budget that will actually show an increase in special education costs this year. What you're looking at is the January forecast in our revised budget. We have spent more in special education this year than we budgeted, so we'll be coming to you for authorization to approve those. We'll have an end of the year budget that will true up any areas where we need authorization to spend more or less. So that will come to you in the next couple of board meetings. Board of Education, it looked like last year the board clerk, who also serves as my executive assistant, was completely charged to the board. That's been taken out of the board, and you're paying half of the board clerk salary, and the other half is being reflected in superintendent. So no, Mike, we didn't cut your salary. We just moved Jamie. we moved some of Jamie out of that line. If you also remember, we budgeted some additional money for those transition jobs, which we don't anticipate needing next year. So that's another part of that $122,000 decrease. Jamie doesn't make that much. She deserves that much, but she doesn't make that much.
She deserves that much.
But that extra money we had budgeted is coming out of there because we won't need it next year. Security, one of the things that did not happen this year, which I was a little surprised at, is we did not move all of security specialists to security. We still had some that were hanging out in school budgets. And we really, because all of them are supervised by our director of security because of their armed status, we've moved every employee into that security line. So when you look at security and you think, oh my gosh, look at that increase, it's because we have moved all of our safety and security specialists into that budget. Several of them were still hanging out in their school budgets. So that's more of a true up. So where you see some decreases in school budgets, it's because their security specialist was also moved. The general fund stipends is a massive increase, and that's because what wasn't accounted for was the leave payout. We still have a policy that says if you have more than 5 discretionary days, you can cash them in. That was not taken into account in last year's budget, and that was something that our CFO discovered this year. So we are budgeting for that. It's a high budget. Not sure we need all of that. We also will be bringing that to TAC and CAC at this next meeting to talk about if we want to continue that. Because again, we're trying to put as much money in everyone's pocket, and that really is a cost to the district that could help us actually further increase salaries down the road if we didn't leave it only for leave buyouts. So our total expense for staffing is increasing by about $1.5 million. The next section is the expenditures, the projected expenditures. Justin this year moved our cost of insurance for each school, our cost of utilities to each school. So you see Running Creek gets $267,000 next year. However, only $23,000 is discretionary spending, which covers paper and supplies that they need to buy at the school. The rest of it is expenses outside of their control, their lights, their power, their water. Those are being charged to the school. So you look at that and it looks like, oh my gosh, that principal has got a lot of money to spend. They really don't. They've got the amount that's over in the notes column, $23,000 for Running Creek, $46,000 for Singing Hills, $40,000 for the middle school, and $85,000 for the high school. And that's a per pupil allocation based upon the number of students expected. Again, you'll see special services did drop in the contracted services. So while it's only a $302,000 decrease here, it was much larger increase on the other side. Again, when you see the revised budget that we'll need to bring to you before the end of the year, you'll see that special education spent more than $1.8 million this year, and Linnea is really working hard to get that back in control. Again, all of the other departments, there are specific budget requests that came with those budgets. So what is really important is that any of those that you want to see, okay, what is technology? Technology, this number is questionable. I'm working with Marty right now. I think he was projecting much larger 9th grade classes and 6th grade classes. They're not as large as he projected, so we won't have to buy as many Chromebooks. We always issue new Chromebooks at 9th and 6th grade. And so he had budgeted for a lot more than I think we need, so that 300,000 will probably decrease before the final budget comes to you. These are the requests. We're working now to go through and say, okay, do we really need all of that? So you can expect some cuts in this line. This is the wish list.
Yeah.
We'll eventually get to, okay, this is really what we need for next year, with a real emphasis on the curriculum programs. So even with giving everybody their wish list, we end the year projected at $2.291 million. That is, on fund balance, the percentage is lower, but it's because of the increased revenue. When we increase revenue because of the homeschool enrichment programs that we'll be funding next year, it makes the portion of savings smaller percentage based upon the revenues that we're earning. And so we still meet Tabor, we still meet more. I do want to draw your attention to a line at the bottom of the expense line, and that's a contingency line. We have $1.4 million in a contingency line, and one of the fears that exists from the state is that while this legislature may not make cuts to education, that our new governor and the new legislature, when they come back into session in January, will realize they have to. We've set aside $1.4 million for a rescission, just in case they call us and say, we need some money back. What we don't want to do is go to staff and say, hey, give me your raise back.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you know, we're going to cut this, or we're going to lay off half of you, or whatever it is. So we are trying to be proactive by setting aside, that's 5% of our state equalization. So we're keeping that in a line in a contingency budget. If we don't spend that, if there is no rescission, that actually brings our fund balance to 8.4% with charters and homeschool enrichment, or 12.8% without. So that actually exceeds our expectation. Our hope will be we don't have to use that. Our hope will be we won't have a rescission. But I also wanted to prepare the board that if we had a rescission, that doesn't put you in a position necessarily to do a fiscal exigency next year, because we are setting aside 1.4 million just to be safe. So we will continue to scrub this budget. Again, for every line here, there is a page associated on a tab. So if you as a board member really want to come in, please let me know. I can send it to you. It may not be as easy to understand as if we schedule time. So if you're like, I want to see what technology, please do between now and June when we approve this budget. Know that that's the detail we've gathered, because we really want you to be able to say, yeah, I'm comfortable with what we're funding, or I'm not. Okay. This is our first look. This is, again, our best thinking right now based upon what we believe we know. We may find that they passed the School Finance Act and we're actually going to get more money than what we projected in here. We'd rather not project that yet until we know for sure. And even with that, we're still going to be concerned about a rescission. The state is $1.5 billion short, and half of their budget is education. So it's hard to believe that they can actually balance a budget without at some point having to come to education and say we need some money back. So, questions?
What is the, I'm sure that just asking this question is probably going to send a number of people spinning into the solar system. What is the thinking behind across the board raises versus merit raises?
I think right now, with our salary scale being so far behind our neighbors, we have merit raises. It's called the point system. So teachers who are contributing to their school, contributing to the district, are earning points, and they're progressing more rapidly on the pay scale already. So we already have a merit system in our salary scale. We have people who don't move for 4 years because they're not contributing, they're not going to professional development, they're not on committees, they're getting 25 points a year for coming back. It takes 4 years to get that raise. We have other people who literally are moving every year and a half, 2 years. And so again, I think our system already recognizes that people can move. People have control of their movement. It's how much they give. And we have teachers who you see at every event, you see, on committees, see at curriculum review committee, you see teachers who are giving of themselves to that degree. They're moving more rapidly than the teacher who locks their door when kids leave, goes home, comes back the next day. And not that they're a bad teacher, they don't have the time, or they're choosing not to contribute. Teachers who are contributing are moving more rapidly. I think we're still trying to catch up to our neighbors. And honestly, we'll continue to do what we can. We can't do much more than this without more tax money from our community, and I'm not sure our community is ready for that. Douglas County levies 25% above their total program on their taxpayers. We levy 4%. So we're never going to match them. It's impossible. There are things that cause people to want to stay in Elizabeth, the small town, the smaller class size. Those are the things we market to say, come here. Health insurance,
Yeah.
another thing we can market.
Yeah,
now.
just there's other
Yeah.
intangibles,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Or
But
that's pretty tangible, actually.
we saw this opportunity with no one else giving raises to actually move a step closer, and that's why we felt so strongly about it. The cost of living has been huge, as we all know. Our employees have actually had less money coming home because of health insurance, because of gas prices, food prices. So we really felt like cost of living, and we promised our employees every 3 years we'd look at it. We moved it up a year because of the impact people have felt with the cost of living.
Is this the end of the second year of the point system, or?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so I do consider that point system to be a merit system, but we put that into place just 2 years ago. And it does, people have to do extra stuff in order to get the
Yeah.
points. They get automatically 25 points
Yeah.
every year. But even on the Elizabeth Education Foundation, we've got, one teacher at least who
Mhm.
is on there and is getting points for,
For their
for this.
contributions.
And then all the, like you said, all the different committees and
Mhm.
the different things that they're on, and then just other things above and beyond.
There's a
Yeah.
performance option that no one has used yet. There's a performance option based upon your student growth, that you can earn points. So that's in the system. It's not been utilized yet. I think the day will come when someone will choose to utilize it. It's setting a very rigorous goal, setting a high goal, having quality data to support the fact that your students grew greater than expected. And then there is that ability to earn points for that as well.
How do they how will they assess to do that? Will it be from just our normal assessment situations where they?
It would be through either CMAS, PSAT, SAT,
Okay,
or some standardized assessment
Yeah.
that can truly compare growth of those students to. So we want it to be objective growth, not subjective growth, so.
I didn't remember that was in there, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So overall, like I said, this is work in progress. You'll see changes come next meeting. Our intention is to present to you what we believe is a pretty darn close final budget. We will then post a public budget hearing at the last meeting in May. Our hope is, we really, I think while we felt like we started behind, we actually are moving pretty rapidly. We believe we actually can have a budget to you the first meeting in June to actually finish and adopt for the 26-27 school year. What would throw that off is the legislature, but fingers crossed.
Who can predict?
Yeah. We did have Glenn Gustafson visit today. He is one of the consultants with the Colorado Department of Education. We asked him to come and just do a look at our financial reporting, our financial system. He will be back, and he has offered to come and speak with the board and share kind of his perspective on things that we might be able to improve, things that we're doing well. And so he has offered to do that, and so we certainly will be bringing him forward either at the next meeting or the last meeting in May to give you an update on his look at our systems and how we're growing. He was very pleased with what he saw today. We went through this in great detail, looked at some of the supporting pages. He's pleased with what he sees. He's pleased with where we are projecting fund balance to be at the end of this year. So he feels very good, but he is partnering with us just to have that outside look to make sure that there's nothing that we're missing. Having a new CFO and all of that, we really want to make sure that we're not missing anything.
And that's coming next board meeting?
He potentially could be here next meeting. He started his review today. He has a number of things he's asked the department to provide him. Once they provide him, he'll come back for his second visit. And then after that, I think he'd be in a position to come and give you kind of his overall thinking of how we're doing, what we can do better, what we're doing great. So.
I expect there to be some negatives.
Oh.
I
Oh,
don't
no.
wanna just hear,
No.
everybody's great.
No, actually, no. Even today, as we were looking at our reporting, he made some suggestions of reporting that might be more beneficial to the board than maybe I think the cash flow is important. Some people really like that because it lets you see kind of where things are, but really getting to the fund level reporting of what percentage of the salary budget at Singing Hills has been spent at the first quarter, so you can see, are we on track, are we off track, what's happening there? Special education is something that is probably good to watch. Are we on track or are we overspending? So those are the types of things he recommended today as we were working through and looking at reporting with Justin. So he's already making some recommendations of things that we could do better, and I think if he shared that with the board, I think you would probably agree, yeah, that would be really helpful too.
Good.
Ready to move on to action items? Okay. All right. First up, we have our first reading of revised policy BEDA, notification of school board meetings. I move that. I think we should make this, unless anybody sees any other reason, final.
I think it's, I would be
I-
okay with
I
that,
thought
but
it
I
looked-
think it's with the changes,
Mhm.
the additional changes Ted had made. I think
Okay.
it cleaned it up nicely. I
Mhm.
don't know if everybody had a chance to read it, and we can go through it and make sure I capture
Mhm.
what you want, but it's really what we do.
Mhm.
We haven't
Yeah.
really been clear
Mhm.
on what we've done.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important so
Yeah.
people know where we post
Mhm.
our agendas. And it wasn't a CASB change or anything, it was just something that was caught, that we do it, let's just
Mhm.
post that we do that,
Yeah.
or say that we do it.
So I'm gonna move that the board approve. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I like Ted's changes to it.
And everybody has them. So
We could-
I move the board approve the first and final reading of revised policy BEDA, notification of school board meetings.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on these?
Now
Can I
I
get a
had-
roll call?
Yeah, and just so you know, I hadn't posted the
Mhm.
changes Ted had made,
Okay.
so I don't know if we wanna,
Oh. There weren't,
to talk
okay.
about those a little bit, or read them, do you want me to read them, or how do you, I don't know. Dan, do you think
Yeah.
that's necessary?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, because the board could also make changes tonight that they bring in adopted.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we did it
Well,
correctly.
and just to make sure we have all of our bases covered here.
It says the same thing, it just says it clearly.
Yeah, it's more clear than what I wrote.
Yeah, yeah, so,
So I'd like to read it. So,
here, I've got it. This is what,
Yeah, that's the one I think we should, yeah.
okay. So basically, what it says is the board shall give full and timely notice to the public of any meeting of 3 or more board members at which public business may be discussed or any formal action taken, including special, regular, and work session meetings and retreats.
Then you move on to the blue section. I
The
think
board-
that's all possible.
Yeah, it looks like it. The board designates the district's official website as the primary location for posting notice of board meetings. In addition, notice shall be physically posted outside of the district office building as a secondary posting location. In the event the district is unable to post notice on the website due to exigent or emergency circumstances, including but not limited to power outages or interruptions in internet service, the physical posting locations shall serve as the official posting site. And then at a minimum, the board shall at a minimum, the board shall cause notice of regular and special meetings and work sessions to be posted on the district's website no less than 24 hours prior to the meeting. This notice shall include specific agenda information where possible. and the district shall maintain a list of individuals who request advance notice of board meetings or of meetings addressing specified topics and shall provide reasonable notice to such individuals in accordance with law. So,
And that was one question,
Mhm.
sorry to interrupt you. Is, we used to do the 72 hours, and that's something, I don't know that we're always.
I think as long as we give 24, at a minimum 24, I think we're fine.
Well, this
And when we
72
can do
hours
that,
is
we
when
do.
we provide to you as a board. It's
Oh.
when I've committed to provide
Mhm.
to you materials, and
Mhm.
sometimes I don't always have those materials
Mhm.
that far in advance. And so you don't always get them 72 hours. So I think
Mhm.
he crossed that out saying, if we're not truly following it,
Mhm.
do we keep it in there? And that's, I
Mhm.
guess, up to you. I try
Mhm.
really hard to get to everything.
Yeah.
I just am not
Mhm.
always able to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And my big concern is, you know, logistically on this, you know, we have it specified notice to the public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then procedurally, on the inside, we can work on that.
and
Mhm.
that's,
Timing.
okay, so that's why that was crossed out,
Okay.
if you had a question about it.
So, with that, if there's no further discussion, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan,
Aye.
Director Fletcher,
Aye.
Director Hunt,
Aye.
Director Olson,
Aye.
Director Powell.
Aye.
Okay, next up, a repeal of regulation GBGG-R-1, staff paid leave certified. So I move that the board approve the repeal of regulation GBGG-R-1, staff paid leave certified.
Second.
And discussion on this one.
We're gonna get rid of one regulation for every new no. No, these both, this one and the next one are both outdated. I believe they're covered in other policies and honestly just no longer apply, so we just felt
We
like
kind of
we
combined, I
Combine
think, the
those
classified and
policies in
certified together.
GBGG.
GB,
Yeah.
All right, get rid of
Yeah.
them.
GBGG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if there's no further discussion on that, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan,
Aye.
Director Fletcher,
Aye.
Director Hunt,
Aye.
Director Olson,
Aye.
Director Powell.
Aye.
And next up, repeal of regulation GBGG-R-2, staff paid leave classified. So I move that the board approve the repeal of regulation GBGG-R-2, staff paid leave classified. Can I get a second?
Second. This particular we don't do. We don't give substitutes leave time. This actually at some point in the district thought that was a good idea. I don't know how we track it. It would be a nightmare. So a substitute, when they work, they get paid. If they don't work, they don't get paid. So, so this was an interesting one that just doesn't apply anymore. This was not combined into the other one. Yeah, that's fine.
Any further discussion on this one? All right, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan,
Aye.
Director Fletcher,
Aye.
Director Hunt,
Aye.
Director Olson,
Aye.
Director Powell.
Aye.
Okay, so this one, I believe we looked at before, second reading. Revised policy JICI, weapons in schools. I move that the board approve the second reading of revised policy JICI, weapons in schools.
Do you want to make that final? Or do you want to
You
wait
know, I was
first?
just thinking that.
Yeah, sorry. It's the second reading and I've gotten police chiefs and input, which I'll share with you, so
Okay,
if you want
so,
to do
did
final.
we get a second on that?
No.
Not yet.
I
Okay.
interrupted before you
Okay,
did, so.
all right.
Good job.
So, I'm going to amend my motion and ask that the board approve the second reading of revised, second and final reading of revised policy JICI, weapons in schools.
Second.
Looked at this one a lot.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
this one, you wanted me to meet with police chief. We were finally able to arrange our schedules to do so. Couple of the questions we had, the 3 and 1/2 inch on a spring-loaded knife, and pocket knife, is statute, so he recommended we do not change that. We did agree on adding a paragraph after those items that are listed in law, and that is that the Elizabeth School District considers any object, regardless of size or length, used to cause fear or harm or bodily injury to be considered a dangerous weapon under this policy and may pursue similar disciplinary actions. So if someone were to bring a 1-inch pocket knife and threaten someone, we consider that a dangerous weapon and therefore would act accordingly. The law couldn't. That doesn't change the law. The threatening would. I mean, that would probably lead to a charge, but it wouldn't lead to a weapons charge. In our case, it doesn't matter what the law says that or not. We have the right as a district to set our own policy. So that was added. We also went with option 2, which really outlines suspension, expulsion for any dangerous weapon use. The facsimile, he felt very strongly based on our experience with the life card, that credit card looking .22 pistol that we encountered earlier this year. This is a policy he would strongly recommend, and I do as well.
I really like that added paragraph, that, you know, whatever the length is, if it's being used the way this reads, and I like this, used to regardless of length or size, any object used to cause fear of harm or bodily injury is to be considered a dangerous weapon. I really like that. But then I want to go over to page 3 into the local restrictions area, and I just want to point out that, and this is something we had discussed a while back, I think. It says, again, it says the Board of Education determines that extra precautions are important and necessary. Therefore, the using, possessing, or threatening to use any knife, regardless of the length, on district property, blah, 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 is prohibited. I like that, except that I'm concerned about the word possessing. And we talked about that a little bit, because we talked about, you know, especially in this rural community, students might have a pocket knife that they carry with them, and it's just for, like, practical purposes. Now, I think it would go back to then, if they threaten somebody with it, then we're back to the first part. But this is making actual possession of it prohibited. So we're saying nobody can carry a pocket knife, even if they use it in their job after work or school or whatever. So I'm a little worried about the possessing word in there. What do you think?
I think that I will say this: if I have it and it's not seen, this doesn't come into play. It's if I have it and it's out where someone can see it, I think that has a potential of causing fear or concern. So I think, yeah, I mean, can I threaten someone by just having it in my lap? Can I threaten by having it? I think that's where the concern comes in. I don't know that striking, possessing would be awful. If you have it out and someone feels threatened by that, I guess you could act on that. But I think it really is designed to be able to capture, you know, you have a knife. Sometimes we get reports of, you know, Dave threatened to harm somebody with a knife. We search Dave and he has a knife. Now we put those two things together. So I don't know.
Well, I just worry that this is gonna, just that word possessing is gonna push the envelope on that a bit. I mean, it does say, you know, you can't use it in a threatening manner, or you can't threaten to use it in a threatening manner. You can't actually use it or threaten to use it. But just possessing it, having it in your pocket, and somebody happens to know that you carry a knife, or, you know, you've got to cut a string and you pull out your thing just to do that, and then you put it back in your
I think
pocket.
the challenge, Mary,
I
comes
don't
is you bring it for that purpose, somebody gets a hold of it and uses it for
Well,
another purpose.
and there is that.
So we want to discourage people from bringing it.
Yeah.
Yes, we have kids all the time on Monday morning who come into the principal and say, I forgot I have my pocket knife. No action's taken.
Yeah.
Knife is secured. It goes
Okay.
home that night to the
Okay.
parent.
So we do have that already?
Yeah, that already happens.
Oh, really? Okay.
If a child self-identifies.
Okay.
It's, again, I bring a knife, I forgot, it's in my backpack, and Dave grabs it and harms you,
Yeah,
that we want to discourage that. And I
Yeah.
think if we take it out, then we're saying, well, it's okay to possess. It really isn't. We really don't want people to. When it's a mistake, every principal, I can tell you, I've heard them every year say, look, if you forget, just bring it forward. Hey, I forgot this.
Yeah, I think intent is at play here, and administrators and teachers can take that into account if a child accidentally brought it to
Yeah.
school. But ultimately, I think it's peace of mind for parents to
Yeah.
know that we are discouraging possession of knives
Yeah.
at school.
Yeah, we don't want you to
Yeah.
bring it. Even if you work at True Value and you need a knife, it should be in your car. It shouldn't be in your pocket, because again, if it fell out and someone grabbed it and used it, you do have some culpability there. So I think that's why it's important, I think, to have. We always have exceptions to rules, and if a child self-reports, which again happens often in our community, it did in my last community too.
Yeah. So do you think we need to, I mean, I get it, and I think that's a very valid point. And I'm glad to hear that, you know, it's sort of a situation that we handle already, but this policy doesn't really provide for that, so to speak. Do we need a sentence added or something that says, you know, I don't know, something, school administrator discretion for possession is allowed, or, I mean, something better
Do
sounding
we
than
want
that,
to
but you know what I
discourage
mean.
it?
What?
Do we want to discourage it or excuse it?
To
Because
dis-
if we start putting, well,
Yeah.
this can be a discretion, then we're really saying it's okay to bring it. We really don't want people to bring it.
So do we instruct our administrators, our school administrators, that, you know, and do we let the students know right up front is it in their student handbook or something, that they shouldn't have one? If they forget, they need to self-report. Do we instruct them on
Our
that?
handbooks say they can't have it.
Okay,
That's what our handbooks say.
Okay.
Our administrators use good judgment to say, Johnny brought it to me, self-reported it. And Johnny, I'm just gonna secure it for you till the end of the day, and then we'll get it.
and I like that, and I appreciate
Yeah.
that, so,
But I think,
I just don't want somebody
you put that in there,
to-
then
to
people are gonna
push
say, why
that
didn't you
possessing
excuse,
envelope
why
when
didn't
it's-
you excuse it?
Yeah.
Well, because you told 12 students you were gonna hurt Mary after school, and we found a knife on you, and then for them to say, well, I really was just going to work. Well, you told 12 students you were gonna hurt Mary,
Yeah.
and so now that.
And Mary's
so-
crying.
So it muddies the waters when you start trying to add exceptions,
yeah.
because that exception would only apply in those rare circumstances where, and again, it is so common in our community where
Yeah.
a child just says, I forgot. They're going in their backpack to find the reading homework, and it's, oh my God.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we have great.
And I think
kids.
in this case, when policy is different than maybe how practice or procedure
Mhm.
plays out
Yep.
in person,
Yep.
and I think it's okay to have a little bit of difference in what does the policy have to address versus the minutia of the practice of dealing with it.
Remember, principals don't expel, you do. So if a principal went to the degree of, I don't care that you brought it by accident, I'm expelling you, that
That's a good
comes
point.
ultimately forward, and we would intervene. There, you also, and I think one of the very first meetings we were together, put an appeal process for suspensions to meet. So if a parent felt like, look, Johnny just forgot and brought it, and the principal's coming down hard, there is that process for a parent to reach out and say, I'd like a second review. So we have all of that in our policy, so.
Okay.
What about at the end of dangerous weapons paragraph, it says an exception to this policy may be made for students participating in authorized extracurricular activities or team involving the use of a firearm. What about an exception for fixed blade knives that exceed 3 inches for culinary? Because it says using,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
true.
use knives in culinary.
But they're supplied by the school, so they're not bringing their own knife.
But it does, it just says using.
Okay. So, let me see.
Where are we looking right now?
The
The
red-
first paragraph, dangerous weapons, it says using, possessing, or threatening to use.
Is this the red language?
Oh, no,
No.
he's at the very
First page.
sentence, under dangerous weapons.
Oh, okay.
So you're talking about C, where it says fixed blade knife?
Well, yeah, we reference a fixed blade knife, and the knives they use in culinary are longer than 3 inches and they're fixed blade, but we don't have an exception for the use of it in culinary.
So where it says an exception to this policy may be made for students participating in an authorized extracurricular activity or team involving the use of firearms.
Yeah, that's more for color guard where they're using the facsimile of a rifle, or they're twirling their rifles. That's what that's in there for. I mean, I think we could say may be made for students participating in authorized curricular or extracurricular
Yeah.
activities.
But wait, doesn't it, I mean, it says without the authorization of the school or the school district, which implies that if it's authorized, it's okay. It's just without the authorization.
Yeah, so that does seem to me like it's kind of covered through that phrase. Using
Without the
possessing,
Any
or threatening
district
without the
curricular
authorization is
event
prohibited.
without authorization.
Yeah.
Is prohibited. So
Okay, I guess that
culinary-
covers it.
Okay.
Okay, so I see that there now, yeah. That'd be pretty hard to suspend a culinary student
Yeah.
using a fiction.
You were cutting carrots.
Yeah, you wanna make sure that.
That carrot has feelings.
Well, but it also allows for the fact that they're authorized to cut carrots, they're not authorized to threaten a student.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Mike, do you feel like that covers it, or do you?
Yeah, I
wanna-
think that
okay,
covers it. I didn't
okay,
see that part.
Okay, yeah, I missed that too.
I saw the exception, I was looking for
Mhm.
another exception.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the exception specifically where, I mean, some of the firearms they twirl really look pretty darn real, so I think that's the concern, so.
Well, and all throughout this, it talks about, possessing on district property, which technically, even if they left it in their car, it would be on district
Mhm.
property. So if you have to bring it, is that a procedural issue? If you have to bring it, check it into the office?
If it's in the car at the high school, again, we don't search cars, we don't go through glove
Mhm.
boxes looking for the knife. If it's on the dashboard and it's
Mhm.
visible, that might be questioned.
Mhm.
But again, is that student worth at true value and it's there for that purpose?
And maybe we
such a
could
rare-
suggest that
it's
they
such
put it
a
away,
rare and
because it's probably
unusual
not a good idea to leave
circumstance.
it
I
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I still remember when I went to high school, we had our hunting guns in the window of our cars in the parking lot. And
It's like-
no one ever had an issue with that, so we've come a long way. I
Different
guess.
world, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, overall, what we're saying is, don't bring it.
We want to discourage people from bringing it. If
Mhm.
they bring it and it's in their car secured, it's
Mhm.
not an issue, because it's not being, no one's reporting, Mary has a knife in her car. I don't know that we'd even go search it unless someone
Mhm.
said Mary threatened Nicole that she was gonna get her after school, then we might go to that.
Meet me at my car, Nicole.
Yeah.
no.
No, okay, well, never mind then.
I really think this policy is nice and tight, and again, we always have discretion, and because it talks about suspension and expulsion, there is that appeal process, so I think we have that ability to make sure.
I'm good with that.
I'm shocked in Colorado, the last time this was looked at was in 2013. It's really weird.
Okay, so with that, we've had a second. If there's no further discussion, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
No.
Director Hunt?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, last one is our review of Exhibit JICI-E, Gun-Free Schools Act, definition of a firearm.
Fine.
It's a review.
Oh, it's a review,
Yeah,
never
just a
mind,
review.
never mind, just a review, yeah.
It's the
And
law.
I'll-
Yeah.
and
just the
after
law.
you
Yeah.
motion, I'll explain.
Just the law.
Okay.
Just the
So I move that the board approve the review of Exhibit JICI-E, Gun-Free Schools Act, definition of a firearm.
So Chief really felt like this was appropriate to leave. We have a lot of law restated and policy and exhibits, and it felt like this was an important one. He would highly recommend we keep it.
Yeah.
I know it's, might be superfluous. It does refer to this, section 921, Title 18 USC in our policy. So it provides ready access to the language in that policy. So his recommendation, I agree, would be to go ahead and keep it.
Makes sense.
We get paid by policy. No.
Yeah, $0 for every policy. Times 9 zillion
We
equals
double
0.
your pay. We double your pay for every
You know that
policy.
math. You know that math, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
0.0.
so, did I get a second?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right, so if there's no further discussion on this, can I get a roll call since we are approving the review?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher? Director Hunt?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, so, with that, our next meeting is scheduled for May 12th, 2026, here in the district office, starting at 6 p.m. So is there anything else up for discussion? Okay, so with that, I adjourn this meeting at 7:41 p.m.